Welcome to the K9s for Veterans podcast, Operation Honor. Join us on this amazing journey. Hosted by Michael Tellerino, your guide through these inspiring stories along with special co-host Kenny Avery. In this podcast, we will share personal stories and highlight impactful programs that empower our veterans. Discover the impact that service dogs have in the lives of veterans. Tune in to witness heartfelt moments and transformational journeys. Get ready to connect, learn, and be inspired by our veterans' stories. Operation Honor is here to uplift and empower. Let's begin this important mission together.
Thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Mike Tellerino, your host for this afternoon's podcast, along with my co-host, Kenny Avery, a director of K9, and also a very special guest that I have with me, the honor of having Jeff Walter with me. Jeff, it's an honor to have you here. Jeff, why don't you start out with giving us a little bit background on yourself, please?
Sure. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. And Kenny, thanks for having me. Jeff Walter, I think you can see from my shirt, I am running for Congress in the 11th Congressional District. I'm a retired Navy Master Chief. I did 9 years of active duty, 13 in the reserves. I'm the mayor of Elburn right now in my third term. I was kind of looking at things and what was going on in Congress and decided it was time to get a little more involved in being mayor. So I have my hat in the ring, so to speak, and trying to run for Congress here in the 11th.
Jeff, what made you want to run for office? I mean, that's got to be such a stressful taking on a stressful or.
It's a busy life, I'll tell you that. That's for sure. But what got me going, I mean, I was kind of recruited for this, but to really get me over the edge, as the mayor, I'm required to deliver certain things to my constituents, right? The folks in Elburn want clean water, they want good streets, they want police protection, they want all these core deliverable things that I'm supposed to give to deliver to my constituents or to the town. And Congress has the same thing, right? There are certain things they should be focused on, and unfortunately they're not. I mean, they're focused on issues that are too far left or too far right. In the meantime, we've got bridges falling into rivers, we got veterans that can't get services, we got a whole lot of things wrong, and they're too busy fighting about stuff that only 1% of the population cares about. So after I was approached, my wife Carrie and I, we looked at the numbers, we looked at, I didn't want to get involved in this race if I didn't think I had a strong chance of winning. I didn't want to take people's money and just, and not put it to good use to get a victory out of this. So we looked at the numbers, we agreed the numbers were good, and we jumped into the race. So here I am.
That's amazing. I love the fact that you have a military background. We need more people in public office that have a military background so they understand how they could better serve our veterans. Unless you're a veteran, you really don't understand the mentality of our veterans. Would you agree?
I would completely agree. I think one of the things I found from my opponent, who has not done a lot for veterans over the years, he's done a couple, voted on a couple things here and there, but all of a sudden he decided to start a quarterly newsletter for veterans about their benefits. I mean, what the heck is that? We all know where to find out about what our benefits are, right? We can go to our county VA person, and we can go to the VFW, the Legion, go to the VA. I mean, there's different places like that. But I completely agree. I think having veterans sitting in the seats, they understand what it's like, what we go through. I'm a disabled veteran as well, so I've been through the VA system. I sat on the Patient Family Advisory Council at Hines. I know what our guys and girls go through. Without living that, you just don't get it.
I totally agree with you. I think one of the biggest issues that I have, and I think Kenny will agree with me, is the wait time to get into the VA to see a doctor. What are your thoughts on that? What would you do to try to increase decrease the wait time?
Well, it needs to be run just like a business. They've got to have measurable performance standards that they're working towards, right? There should be set amount of time when a veteran's call, when it gets in there, till it gets answered, till they get an appointment, till they can see the doctor, whatever the case. And there are certainly a lot of opportunities to expand care outside of the VA system. If a veteran can't get the care, if the hospital's too far away or the VA clinic's too far away, they should be able to go to a civilian doctor and
Right.
get the same care they need covered by the VA. There's no reason not to do that. That program needs to be expanded as well. I mean, I know we're doing it. It just needs to go a little further.
It needs to go a lot further because community care only goes so far. I'm a 100% disabled veteran. I'm a little bit luckier than most. I have private practice, but it should be just as fast as what I have on the outside. The VA should be too. We need to hire more doctors and nurses. Everybody knows that. And you got to get the politics out of there.
And I think there's improvements in the system as well, right? I mean, we can start using AI to do some of the grunt work that they've got people doing, so they can focus on the veterans care, not necessarily on paperwork grind. Get some of that stuff automated, get it out of the way, get these veterans served.
It would be a lot faster with the AI.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
telemedicine as well. I mean, what's wrong with, you can get telemedicine on Amazon now, right?
Yeah.
I know the
Yes,
VA
you can.
has it, but why can't I do it at home and just call up, and just say, hey, here's what I need. What do you think? Can I get in? No. Okay, here, I'll go here. It should be simple.
I think most veterans feel like they're just a number. There's no human contact, no human connection. It's just rush here, get in, get out, take this, do that, and that's it. There's no personalized really care that I could see in the VA. It's all run by statistics and numbers.
Well, that's the problem when the government runs something, right? It's not like a civilian company where there's profit measures or there's things that they have to get done and people lose their jobs, right? If you can't hold somebody accountable and there's no consequences for lack of action or the wrong action, things don't get done. I have committed, though, for my office when I get into Congress that I will hire a veteran caseworker who will be focused on veterans from the 11th to get them what they need. I mean, we've got to have that.
Now, what towns all entail the 11th district?
So it's kind of like a big C. It starts out in Wakanda, up in Lake County. It goes out west to Belvedere. It comes down through DeKalb County. I pick up Genoa, Kingston, a little bit of North Sycamore, down through Kane County. So the Tri-Cities, Batavia, Geneva, Batavia, into North Aurora, Naperville, Bolingbrook, and it ends in Lamont, almost to Burr Ridge. Just in Lamont is about where it ends. So it's like a really big C.
Okay, I want to get that out there for all my veterans so they know who to vote for.
Without a
Yeah.
doubt.
Absolutely.
One of the biggest gripes that I have is veteran suicide. We lose 22 veterans a day to suicide. Jeff, I just don't think we're doing enough through the VA to get that number down. I think we need to do more for our veterans when they're released, when they're coming home with PTSD. As I said the other day when we were talking, the Joe that left is not the same Joe that's coming home. I think we need to prepare the families for who's coming home. I think it would help with the divorce rate, the domestic problems that they're having. It could help so many areas if they would just prepare the family for the veterans that's returning with PTSD.
Yep. Well, it's like we talked about, Michael. There are other cultures in this world that do a way better job of welcoming home their warriors, right? They know how to treat them. They know how to set the family up for success. They know how to set the veteran up for success. They allow different treatments, outside of Western medicine, acupuncture, chiropractic, whatever. There's different options for treatments. There's programs like Canines for Vets that should be funded by the VA. We are not a society here in this country that is very good at welcoming home our warriors, and that's got to get better.
I couldn't agree more with you. Like I said, we're losing 22 a day.
It's probably higher than that,
Yeah, it's probably higher.
Oh, definitely higher. But that number will never change because it's both recognized with PTSD suicide for our veterans.
Right. Yeah. 22 a day was a big program. I think all the veterans, we all know about 22 a day. Right?
Exactly. So I just want them to do more to help our veterans that are returning home with PTSD than they're doing now. I don't really think they're doing enough.
Right.
They just
why aren't we trying to learn from other cultures that do a better job at this, right? I mean, you can even go back to ancient Greeks and Romans did a better job. The Native American tribes do a better. There's 100 different things they could learn from studying other cultures and then expanding programs out. why can't the VA sponsor a dog through Canines for Vets, right?
You
I mean,
know,
I've seen what your dogs do for the men and women that have them. That's fantastic.
Jeff, they save lives. They truly do. We've had over 250 veterans, as Ken will attest to it, in our program. We have not lost one the PTSD suicide. We're really proud of that fact.
Yeah,
These
that's fantastic.
They save lives. They truly do. They're a blessing. And I know the VA at one time, if my memory serves me, they were willing to sponsor and pay for a service dog to private organizations like Canine, but I'm not sure if that bill ever passed or it's good to go. Maybe you know, Jeff.
I do not. I would have to dig into that one, but I have not heard of it. I try to stay on top of veterans issues, especially when I was involved at Heinz, and I don't recall that one coming through as passed.
Yeah, I know it was put up in a bill for the VA to pay for these service dogs from private organizations like Canine, but somehow I lost track of that, what happened with it. I think it just fell by the wayside. I really do, which is a shame because that's one positive step that the VA could take in
Yeah.
helping our veterans with PTSD.
Absolutely. That number should be 0 suicides.
You think?
Oh,
That's what-
it never will, but
No, but we got at least every
We gotta try.
policy, every dollar, every decision should be thought of in the goal of making it 0.
Would you put a bill on once there to get to get the VA to sponsor these service dogs for these veterans?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So
So-
I've talked to Congressman Bost, who's the chairman of the VA committee, and I've already asked him if I could be on, if I can, how can I get on your committee, right? I mean, I've got to get elected first, obviously, but veterans issues are a huge thing for me, always have been. Even when, even in my corporate work life, I've been very involved in veterans issues. I started a veterans group at Healthcare Service Corporation. I received the President's Award for Diversity for what I did for veterans at that organization. So this issue, veterans issues, are huge for me, always have been, and we need to get it going. I will work with all the veterans groups, the VFW, the Legion, Canines, anybody that wants to talk to me about what they think, how we can do this better, and let's get the right bills in place and get the money where it needs to go. I don't buy into this, like what's been going on with this latest bill that we want to take away future veterans opportunities to get rated for certain things to pay for services today. That's just nonsense. I mean, veterans need every dollar going their way that we can get.
Right. What about hiring a veteran and getting some kind of discount on your taxes if you hire a veteran?
Yeah, I think there is a slight discount right now. There's a tax break for corporations. That should be increased for sure. And then just the programs, the TAP program. I mean, we talked a little bit about this before, but the TAP
Right.
program needs to be expanded, right? It shouldn't be a week or two. I mean, when I got off active duty, TAP program was like 2 4-hour classes, and basically it was go join the reserves, and here's the number to the VA. I don't know. I'm sure it's gotten better now, but at least I hope it has.
no, not really.
No, that's unfortunate.
no.
I mean, it's been a few years since I got off active duty, but
We're
I mean,
still-
it
We're still
helps.
just a number.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate. I mean, we do a lot for each other as veterans, right? When I was at Blue Cross, we'd bring veterans in and help them with their resumes, show them how their skills translate to civilian skills. We teach them how to go to interviews, the right way to answer questions, and it's a whole nother world in the corporate world compared to the military, right? You just don't get to tell somebody what to do when they go do it, right?
Right.
So those programs, that's what the TAP program needs to be. I used to go up to the job fairs up at Great Lakes and talk to the veterans there, and they weren't getting any of this kind of stuff. We were teaching them how to talk to HR people, how to get through
Right.
interviews. I mean, those kind of skills we need to teach.
Yeah.
Well, I've even talked to them, and I had to explain to them, hey, look, your disability ratings. If you're a homeowner, depending on your rating is how much you get off of your property tax. And so many guys and girls had no idea that they were allowed to even do that, and that
Yeah.
should be put out there.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot that the VA gives us that a lot of veterans don't know about. I mean, I'm sure the three of us are well deep into the system, right, and understand stuff. But I had a guy in our Legion post here. He's got Parkinson's. He's got Agent Orange issues. He had no rating, and he's a Vietnam vet. And I was like, here, go talk to my guy here at the county. Our King County guy is fantastic, Jake Zimmerman. And I sent him to Jake, and now he's 100% rated. He's not paying any property tax anymore. He's getting the care he needs. He didn't know anything about it, but he belonged to the Legion. It's like, come
That's
on.
the problem with the VA too. They never tell our veterans what benefits are out there. They just don't do it, and I don't get it. That's what their job is supposed to be, is to help our veterans and guide them into getting into a more productive life, and to help them. And it's just not happening. You know, Terry Prince, as we said the other day, is a good friend of mine. He's the director of the VA. Terry's a personal friend of mine. I know he tries to do so much to help our veterans. He just runs into so many obstacles to getting it done. But Terry's heart is in the right place. What about it, Kenny?
Yes, Terry's fantastic. He's helped me. He will help anybody. He'll take the shirt off your back and and say, "Okay, you need to do this, and he'll walk you through the steps." Terry's a fantastic man.
Yeah, I'm doing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate the system around him, though. You know,
right. It's fighting City Hall.
Yeah, I mean, being on the PFAC at Hines, you know, we would meet once a month and go over some numbers on call times and return call and whatever. It's like, what are we really doing here? Are we really making it better for the veterans? And it was one of those things that, you know, the government said they got to have this organization, you got to have this council, so they stood it up. And then when they said they didn't need it, they stood it down. I mean, it's like, it's typical government bureaucracy, and you can't. And when it's in personal care like this, you can't have it.
No.
Well, the other thing is too, they're so strict on our disability ratings. If it's not worded correctly, and I call it the playbook. The VA has a playbook, and you know it shouldn't be this difficult for veterans to get the disability they deserve.
Right.
Right. I agree. It all needs to be looked at. I mean, there's a whole lot of things in the government that need to be looked at, but in this case, absolutely.
Jeff, you were recently at one of our service dog presentations where we award the dog to the veteran. You were with the group that sponsored one of those service dogs.
Correct. The Elburn Lions Club. Yep.
The Lions Club. I think that's the second time I think they
It is. So my wife, Carrie, was the president of the Lions Club, and each president, they're in for a year, and they try to have a theme of what they'd like to do. And Carrie's focus was on veterans. And that's when we did that dog 3 years ago, whatever it was. And then they decided to try it again. So you got one from the Lions Club and the Leos,
right,
which is like for kids. It's the Lions Club for kids. And they wanted to sponsor one too, so we did 2 dogs this last time, which is awesome.
Amazing. You changed that veteran's life that night. You really have. He come up to me after the ceremony and he says, "I can't believe someone came up and thought enough about me and the service to my country, and was willing to step up and help me the way they just have now." They were just taken back by it. They really were.
Yeah, and I learned something new that night too. I didn't know you did service dogs for police officers as well, because the one lady was a police officer who got one of the dogs.
First responders.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what? It's you know, they're in the front line as well as our veterans too. They really are. You know,
PTSD is real there too. That's one good thing I can say about the Safety Act. I don't have a lot of good things to say about it as a mayor, but that's one good thing that came out of it, is that our police have to go to regular counseling sessions and talk to somebody. And just that alone helps.
Anything we could do to help our boys and gals, you know, we need to do. And again, let me just say, that's why when I knew and when I realized that you were running for Congress and that you were a veteran, hey,
Amazon,
no,
Sierra.
That's I'm having a new furnace put in, and the guy was up on the patio, so I apologize for that. Sierra, down. Yeah. Anyway, I
Yep.
lost.
She told you.
I was
Now
yeah.
my service dog's barking.
Yeah, well,
Mine haven't started, thankfully. Not a service dog, but my two knuckleheads.
they can join in. But when I realized that you were running for Congress, I just knew that I wanted to have you on my podcast because with your credentials in being in the position of being in Congress and your willingness to step up and fight for our veterans that's what we need. We need more of that.
Well, we got to get people out to vote, guys. I mean, that's the big thing.
Well,
it's an
people-
off-cycle year. It's a midterm. People don't like to get out and vote. Turnout's usually rather low. And I tell you what, if the Republicans lose the majority in the House, we're going to spend 2 years of listening to impeach, and nothing's going to get done, and our veterans aren't going to get anything that they need done.
No,
And that's unfortunate.
No, we're going to go into a lame duck session.
Yeah.
It'll be crazy. It really will. We need to get more people that are military oriented into office, and that's why
I'm also a firm believer that in order to be a politician, you have to have had at least 2 years in the military. So everybody understands what we do, what we did. Because what are we, the 1%ers? So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't understand. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, there are countries in this world that require 2 years of service, whether it's in the military or you're doing a government service somewhere, but you've got to serve, right? You got to give back. And
I believe we should
nothing
have
wrong with
that.
Nothing wrong with that.
You know what? If you don't want to join the service, you got to do 2 years of community service, real community
yeah.
service.
Right. Work in some organization, whatever, work somewhere. But yeah, I mean, just to get an idea, one of the things that we see, some of the things I see on the campaign trail are pretty amazing, but people are just undereducated on civics and government. I mean, I've had people come up to me. Now I'm running for federal office, right? Washington, D.C. People have asked me how I'm going to like going to Springfield every week. I'm like, I'm not going to Springfield. I've had people say, hey, you'd make a great U.S. Senator. I'm not running for the Senate. It's because people just, I mean, our education, they're not getting the civics and government education that
Right.
we all got back in the day, and they just don't know. And that's unfortunate. And government is not a spectator sport. You've got to be involved in your government, at least to vote. You don't necessarily have to be a precinct committeeman or a candidate or whatever, but at least get out and vote. Because if you don't vote, you got no right to complain.
Exactly. Well, I would have used a different word, but
Well, I would have too, but I'm trying to be polite. There's a Navy word I would have used, but
yes, mine too.
I get it. I can't thank you enough for taking the initiative, and I know running for a public office it's got to be stressful. It's got to take a toll on yourself, your family. If you have a family life at all, running for office, I should say, because I follow you on Facebook and you're at one event after another, helping to get the word out about what you'd like to see change. And it's so awesome what you're doing and your attitude about helping our veterans. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do the podcast with you. I just think you'd be the perfect person for your office that you're running for. You really do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And you've got the support of all the veterans in our organization. Anything we could do to help you in any way, we'll do. You got my word on that.
Get the word out to get them to vote. Get them in the polls.
How they give us the word. Tell us how to do that.
Well, you can go to jeffwalterforcongress.com. That's our website. We've got all the information there. You can follow us on socials. As a matter of fact, I was looking at the comments, and Elburn trustee Chris Hansen, who made a comment about the lack of training and ability to help our veterans, he is actually my social media and communications director. So Chris has all the stuff out there on all the socials. We're on everything. Follow us. If you need help registering to vote, I think we've got some information out there. The county will as well. Find out. Early voting starts, I think, September 24th. It goes all the way to November 3rd is election day. Just get out there and vote. If you can get to my website and you've got the means, you can donate. We appreciate every dollar. Every dollar goes to something like a sign or something we can hand out, or it's not a business, right? Everything we do, we're putting right back into the campaign, or volunteer.
Right.
We're having volunteer days at our office. We're having people come in writing postcards, making phone calls. We've got a golf outing coming up in August. We're gonna have actually at the post in Naperville. We're gonna have a barbecue. I think at the end of August, we're gonna have just like a meet and greet. We'll have some food. Come on out, just meet me. We might have a couple other local candidates there just to say hello, to get to know us. It's just we got to get the word out. We got to get people off the couch.
And that would be on your website, that Naperville.
Yeah, I don't think it is right now, but it will be as soon. I've got to call them back and give them my credit card to lock it in. But once that's locked in, we'll have it out there. But yeah, it'll be on the website. There's an events page you can go to, shows everything we got going on.
I am so glad you decided to run for office. I really am. We need more people running for office like yourself. We really do. It's just an honor to have you on our podcast tonight, expressing what you'd like to see happen for our veterans. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Hey, it's my pleasure. And we didn't quite get to the homeless topic. I don't know if we've got time or if I don't know what your cutoff is here.
Homeless?
Oh no, we definitely have time for that. Jeff, when we were talking yesterday, I was just on Route 59 in Plainfield. There was a gentleman right by the expressway in Route 30. Okay. He had a sign. I'm a homeless veteran. Can you please help me? So I stopped and I talked to him. I says, what was your MOS? Just wanted to make sure he was a real veteran.
All right.
He come up with his MOS like that, where he was stationed at the whole 9 years. So of course I helped him and stuff like that. But it broke my heart that we have veterans who took the oath to serve our country, willing to put their life on the line and do whatever they were asked to do. No questions, put the left in front of the right and just go forward with whatever we ask of them. And when they come home, it's like we shake their hand and say, God bless you and thank you.
Yeah.
And that's it. How do we allow our veterans that took that oath to defend our country to come home and live on the street? How do we do that?
Yeah, I can feel your frustration. My parents both came from Germany. They were immigrated here in the 50s. And my dad, watched a lot of TV, as he got older, and the whole tunnels to towers thing. He used to yell at me. He's like, how can this country send these people to go to war? And then we have to have a private organization funding their housing and, why can't the government, the people why aren't we taking care of that? And he used to get so frustrated about that.
I get it. With them.
I get it. Yeah. I mean, Tunnels to Towers is great. Don't get me wrong. They're doing wonderful things.
They're doing what our government should be doing.
Absolutely. Why isn't the VA doing it, right? Why aren't we taking old hotels and converting them into veterans housing and providing counseling service and job placement service and dogs or whatever they need? Why can't we do that? Why does it take a private organization?
When we had COVID-19, a few years back when it was going strong, I got a call from a veteran who was staying at a hotel in New York. There was a bunch of them staying at the hotel. They were actually asked to leave because they were making room for the homeless COVID patients. They threw our veterans out.
Right.
How does that happen?
Well, I think there's a lot of that going on right now, with the illegal immigrants that have come in. We have a housing shortage as it is, and you throw in a few more million people to really exasperate that problem.
Right.
And who's suffering for it, right? I mean, thank God there are organizations like yours and like Tunnels for Towers and some of the others out there, but it shouldn't be that. We shouldn't need that.
We should take care of our veterans the way Tunnels to Towers is taking care of our veterans. It's a shame.
100%.
There's an easy fix to that. There's a real easy fix. Make every politician have to utilize the VA and their family. And I guarantee you things will change, and they will change fast.
Yeah.
They would never do that, though.
They won't, but
they'll never do a 2-year term.
That's why you've got to get guys like me in there that get it, that understand what we've all been through. Right. I mean, I'm not a combat veteran. I'm not professing that I've been out there getting shot. I was in the Navy. We don't get shot at very often, right? But, you see what these guys are going through. I see them at the clinic. I see them at Heinz. I see them everywhere. And it's like we got to get something. We got to do better. We have to do a lot better.
Yeah, we do. Jeff, I can't thank you enough for being my guest today. One more time, I want people to know where they can go to support you and donate to you for your cause, because you need to win that seat.
The website is jeffwalter4forcongress.com. And you'll see everything right there where you can volunteer, where you can donate. I mean, if you can't afford to donate and you want to volunteer a couple hours a week, we got a lot of things that need to get done. We're going to be knocking doors, starting in August, getting around, trying to meet more people. We'll have events all over. Come to the events, meet me, meet the staff, hear what we're all about. Bill Foster's been in office for 16 years now. And it's time for a change. You can't, I'm a term limit guy. 6 years is enough in Congress. I only wanted to run 2 terms as mayor, but things kind of didn't work out. I ended up stepping up for one more round, but we've got to get new blood in there. We've got to get people that understand what we go through as veterans, and they can get something done and not fight all this nonsense that they're putting up with. We got to help our folks out. That's all there is to it.
Let us know what we could do to help you in any way. And you have the back of K9 and our veterans, believe me.
Yeah, maybe we'll get together and have an event together and raise some awareness for canines and help people understand we got to get the right people in office.
Jeff, we have a ceremony, and I just want to bring this up for people that may be listening. September 12th at the Forgotten Warrior Memorial, located in Shanahan State Park. It's the biggest memorial anywhere in the United States that's honoring veterans who committed suicide because of their PTSD. We add their names to the memorial for each branch of service. We have bagpipes, taps. It's a full-blown ceremony. It's to honor the families, to let them know that their loss, that should be their son or daughter, should be honored as a true American hero for what they serve for our country. So if you can make it out there to Shanahan State Park on September 12th, I'd love to have you out there.
Yep, I'd love to be there.
We're adding 13 names of veterans who committed suicide to the memorial that day. In fact, Terry Prince will be there. Terry Prince is always there to represent the VA, to talk to these families. That's the kind of guy he is.
Awesome.
And Jim Glasgow, the Will County State's attorney, good friend of mine, personal friend of mine, he'll be there as well. So if you can make it out there, Kenny and I would love to have you out there.
I'd love to be there. Carrie is actually here in the background on her phone, putting it in the calendar right now as we speak. So
God bless you. And thank you again so much for deciding to run for office. I know you're going to make it. You got to make it. You just do.
Hey, keep doing what you guys are doing. Canines, I love the dogs. I mean, and they love me too. That's why I asked you one yesterday. I said, what triggers a dog on, is it cortisol, is it behavior, is it whatever? Because every time I get around your dogs, some of them want to push up on me like I need some counseling or I need to, it's like, okay, am I that stressed out? I don't know, but
yeah, right.
I think it's great.
Doing what you're doing and taking on the load of responsibilities you are to run for office, I'm sure you have your hands full, and I'm sure it's got to be stressful at times. So
you just take
our dogs know when we're stressed out. Yeah. They know. They give you that little paw.
Yeah, who was the one you brought out to the Lions Club, Michael? That was the first experience I had with the one guy you used to travel around with a couple years ago with the dog. That dog keyed on me right away. He just kept pushing on me, and I'm like, what's going on here? And he's like, oh, he thinks you're stressed. I could be a little stressed.
Yeah. I know when Kenny gives a speech at our events and Dan Miller, their service dogs, if they're up there talking, no matter how many times they give that speech and talk about our service dog program, their dogs will automatically just start rubbing up against them, looking at them like, are you going to be okay? So
that's awesome.
I'm so glad you decided to run for office. Looking forward to helping you in any way we can. Thank you for an amazing podcast and what you plan on doing to help our veterans. It's a blessing. It really is.
Well, thanks for having me. Help me get the word out. And again, we got to get people out to vote. That's the big thing. We need the voters in the polls voting for me.
Get them out.
We'll get them out.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. You too. Kenny is